Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be unboxing my brand new Sony FX9 cinema camera, which is the first 6K full frame camera that they've made with an actual variable ND filter. And this camera essentially mimics what the Sony Venice can do in the cinema world. So the biggest thing that drew me to this camera over other cameras was that obviously with Sony, they typically like to give you a lot of firmware updates that bring a lot more as far as unlocking their technology. The s-cinetone, which is available, that came out initially in the Sony Venice, is actually built into this camera. So that could speed up your workflow if it's something that you're looking for. It's reasonably priced considering what the competition is going for these days. You're looking at about $11,000 to pick this up brand new. But I'm really curious to see how much of my workflow can benefit from just using these s-cinetone. All right, so let's take a look at the contents inside. All right, and here's more information, including a CD about Sony's Catalyst software. And here is the charger for the battery. Here is the AC converter. And this is Sony's viewfinder for the camera. It's actually kind of a modular piece. This is the Sony FX9. It's actually very light. It's not that heavy at all. You do get the battery, and this is your handle. This is actually the grip that you can carry around. Grip has features like activating recording, actually has a direct menu, so you have access with a great size handle, and it's really light. All right, so let's briefly go over everything that came inside the box. Let's start with the bad boy itself, which is the FX9. So if you're not familiar, the sensor is actually a 6K full frame sensor that outputs files in 4K. And you're gonna be able to do up to 4K 60 frames per second. The 60 frames, however, in the current state with the firmware that it has now, only works in Super 35 mode. But like I mentioned earlier, once the new firmware 2.0 is released in October, it's actually going to be able to take a 5K readout. You're going to be able to utilize the majority of the sensor to get your 4K 60 frames per second. And on top of that, they're also going to unlock the ability to shoot in full HD. You're going to be able to shoot up to 180 frames per second. So as we use this camera more, we'll get deeper into the features, but I just wanted to touch base on the things that were really stand out to me. But let's set that aside. And this is the actual standard viewfinder. So as you guys can see with the eye cup, it's pretty large, but this is the viewfinder that they've used in previous cameras. This is your standard charger for the batteries. I actually bought the 60 milliwatt hour battery as a second battery for backup. And this is the actual handle that you're going to be using. So if you're running with the shoulder rig or if you're just hand holding the camera, you're going to be able to use a lot of buttons, which, for example, the features you get are obviously to zoom if you're going to use a zoom lens. And you also have a record, start, stop, record button. You can also control a little bit of the this is a joystick that'll allow for you to control focus points, I believe. And if you need to release it, you got a handle here for it. It's pretty sturdy. It's got a nice little grip. I think this is going to come in super handy out in the field, and it just connects with the USB cable. All right, and for internal recording, I ended up picking this XQD card. And last but not least, I picked this up knowing that the firmware for recording 16-bit RAW is going to be released in October. This is the Atomos Shogun 7. So I picked up the SDI version because that's what's going to allow for the 16-bit RAW output to go into the system here. And that's actually going to be converted down to a 12-bit RAW file, which is going to be non-linear as opposed to the 16-bit linear files that are going to come straight out of the camera. All right, and here's the camera fully assembled. As you can see, the handle is attached. You've also got the viewfinder with the eye cup. The 50mm lens is what I'm going to be using for my first test shots. And the battery that's already installed in the back, along with the memory card, is essentially what's attached so far. And obviously I've got a cage that I'm going to be putting onto this thing so that I can put my Shogun on top. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and do some test footage this week, and I'm going to compare with my current systems, which include my GFX100 medium format camera. And along with that, I'm also going to compare with my vlogging system, which is right now just my Canon EOS R. So leave any comments or questions down below, subscribe to the channel for more, and I'll see you guys on the next video.